Rosalina is one of the coolest princesses in the Super Mario universe. But did you know her story is also one of the saddest in the entire franchise? Separated sisters. Rosalina's story is a mystery throughout most of the Super Mario Galaxy movie, but that changes when Princess Peach remembers that the two of them are actually sisters who were separated in childhood. In this case, Rosalina and Peach were two children made of stardust who lived in space. They always had incredibly strong cosmic powers that become even stronger when they hold hands, but that also made them targets for villains who wanted to use their abilities for evil. Because of that, Rosalina had to make the painful decision to hide Peach on another planet so that no one would ever find her. Because of this, Peach had to be raised by the Toads in the Mushroom Kingdom, while Rosalina continued her journey, eventually meeting the Lumas, becoming an adoptive mother to them, and living alongside them in the Comet Observatory. As unbelievable as it may sound, this is just the beginning of Rosalina's sad and tragic story in Super Mario Galaxy. You know what's starting. It's another awesome Cinewave! Watching from afar. All these years, Rosalina deeply missed her sister more than anything, so much so that she watched Peach grow up from the Comet Observatory, even though she never had the courage to visit her. Rosalina saw her sister being raised by the Toads, and she also saw her become the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom. In fact, Rosalina even watched all the events of the Super Mario Bros. Movie from afar, something we can notice at the beginning of Super Mario Galaxy, when the Lumas ask her to tell the story of the Plumber brothers who saved the world. However, Rosalina seemed much more interested in telling Peach's own story, which clearly shows how she never stopped thinking about her younger sister. It's very sad to realize that she spent all those years watching Peach's life as a spectator, even though she wished she could be by her side. At the very least, Rosalina had the privilege of seeing what was happening to her sister and knowing that she was safe. Unfortunately, many people have to stay away from the ones they love and spend the rest of their lives without ever knowing what happened to them, holding on only to the hope that they are safe and happy. Rosalina's family. Rosalina's story has always been tragic since the Super Mario Galaxy games, which inspired the movie of the same name. However, the past of the Star Princess is quite different between the two versions, since the games take place in a different universe from the movies. The biggest difference is that, in the games, it was never confirmed that Peach and Rosalina are sisters. This was always just a fan theory that ended up becoming reality in the Illumination films, which was a very welcome and emotional change. Another difference involves the princess's parents. In the movie, she and Peach apparently don't have parents, having originated from cosmic stardust. However, in the games, Rosalina had parents and a brother, which changes everything. In fact, there is even a possibility that her father and brother are still alive. Despite this, the two never appear in any game and are only mentioned by the princess. It's also unclear what their relationship with Rosalina is like. Do they love each other or hate each other? It's hard to say, but it's a bit strange that they've never been seen together. And the fact that they apparently don't exist in the movies makes the Star Princess's story even sadder, because it means she had lost her only relative, Peach. So, would you also like to see more about Peach's sister in the next Mario movie? If so, comment down below #Rosalina. Mourning her mother. Another very important part of Rosalina's story in the games, which was changed for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, involves her mother. We mentioned that Rosalina's father and brother are still alive, but the situation is different when it comes to her mother, who passed away when the princess was still a child. Rosalina went through a long process to accept the death of her beloved mother, and it still affects her to this day. In fact, that is exactly why she ended up becoming the adoptive mother of the Lumas. She knows what it's like to grow up without a maternal figure and doesn't want that for them. This is one of those things that is sad and beautiful at the same time. If we stop to think about it, the death of Rosalina's mother was replaced by her separation from Peach in the movie. In both cases, the adoptive mother of the Lumas lost a loved family member during childhood and never forgot it. The biggest difference is that Peach is still alive, and Rosalina is able to reunite with her, giving the story a happier ending. So yes, Rosalina from the games losing her mother is sadder than her being separated from her sister in the movie, but both tragedies are far from pleasant. Father and brother. It's clear that the differences between Rosalina's past in the games and in the movies are huge. However, there's one possibility that few people have considered. Maybe the story of the two versions of the character is less different than Super Mario Galaxy wants us to believe, because it's entirely possible that Rosalina still has a father and a brother, even in this version of the story where Peach is her sister. After all, what we know about their past comes only from what Peach remembers and what Rosalina chose to tell her younger sister. And that's the key point. Peach's memories are very vague because they come from when she was just a baby, and maybe Rosalina isn't telling the full truth, with the story that they were born from cosmic stardust possibly being a lie to hide the fact that they have, or had, parents. It wouldn't be the first time Rosalina has kept something from Peach, since she spent about 20 years without visiting her, even knowing that the Princess of the Mushroom Kingdom wanted to discover her own origin. Maybe Rosalina didn't tell the truth about the rest of the family to keep her younger sister safe. If that's the case, it's very likely this will be revealed in the next Mario movie. And if we're going to theorize, it would make sense if their father and brother were evil and wanted to use their powers just like other villains. Another possibility is that they are being held hostage by some other villain and made Rosalina promise to keep Peach safe, even if that meant hiding their existence from her. After all, because she is so brave, Peach would definitely risk her life trying to save her other relatives if she found out they existed, just like she did when she went to rescue Rosalina from Bowser Jr.'s grasp. Will Peach discover all of this in Super Mario 3 and go after them? Daisy. In fact, there's a chance that the post-credit scene in Super Mario Galaxy has already set the stage for the rest of Rosalina and Peach's family story to be told in the next movie of this incredible franchise. In this case, we're talking about the scene where Princess Daisy appears. Yes, Daisy, one of the most famous princesses in the Mario universe. If you're wondering how her presence could confirm anything about Rosalina and Peach's relatives, it's simple. Maybe she is the third sister in this family. It may sound unlikely, but remember that Rosalina has a brother in the games who never appeared? What if he exists in the movie universe, but as a girl, just like Peach? One clue is that in the scene where Daisy appears, she is in the Gateway Galaxy, where beings from all over the universe gather to travel to other planets. In other words, this suggests that Daisy comes from space, just like Rosalina and Peach. After all, since the first movie, it's clear that Peach was the only person with a human appearance in the Mushroom Kingdom, at least until Mario and Luigi arrived. So it's likely that Daisy doesn't live in that world yet. Everything we know about her fits the idea that she could be another lost sister of Rosalina. And if that's true, we can imagine Daisy revealing the true origin of her sisters and introducing them to the father of all three.
And if you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do. Click and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos.
Mother. With everything we've talked about, it's clear that the other sibling, or rather another sister, of Rosalina, along with their father, still have a strong chance of appearing in the next movie. But what about their mother? If Illumination stays faithful to the games in this aspect, her mother will have passed away, a tragedy that no one can change. However, nothing guarantees that it will be adapted that way, so we can't rule out the possibility of Peach, Rosalina, and maybe Daisy meeting their mother, which would be an incredible addition to the story. But even if she has passed away, it's almost certain that we'll at least see her in a flashback. In fact, our guess is that the sisters' cosmic powers came from their mother. What do you think about that theory? Hundreds of years. Another detail that was changed in Rosalina's story is that in the games, she is much older than she appears, being hundreds of years old. So much so that she visits her home planet once every 100 years, as if that were a very short amount of time. However, since she and Peach are sisters in the movies, this had to be changed. In the flashback that shows the past of the two in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, both of them are very young. Peach is a baby and Rosalina is a child. In the present, both are adults, but the Princess of the Mushroom Kingdom appears to be in her early 20s. Since Rosalina grew up in about 20 years, she must be only a few years older than Peach. Same age. Or could it be the opposite, and in reality, the Rosalina from the movies is indeed just as old as her game version, which would make Illumination's Peach much older than she is in the games. That would completely change the way we see Peach. We've always imagined that the scene of her arriving in the Mushroom Kingdom as a baby happened around 20 years ago, but it's possible that it actually happened centuries ago, which would mean that Peach has been the Queen of the Toads for multiple generations. This is completely possible when we remember that Peach also has the same cosmic powers as Rosalina and simply doesn't know how to use them on her own. If Rosalina can live for centuries, then Peach is capable of that as well. The funny thing is that if she really is that old, Mario definitely doesn't know it, and it will be hilarious when he finds out from someone who's old enough to be a great-great-grandmother. It's almost over, but until then, you can stay with us. There are 2 super fun videos waiting for you. Thanks, and see you next time.